Hello everyone. Today's lecture is about proteins digestion and we have an exercise we want to solve it. In order to determine the digestive juices or the digestive juice containing protease, the following experiment is carried out. Carried out means performed or is done. So this is the problem of the exercise that we want to solve it during this exercise. So the problem, what is the digestive juice containing protease? So here from this experiment, from this exercise, you will be able to determine the juice or the digestive juice containing a protease. What is a protease? Protease, it's a specific or it's an enzyme or it's a class of enzymes uh, that can or that are specific to digest the proteins. So any enzyme able to digest a protein is called a protease. So protease هو في mistake بالwriting يلا ما بأثر. It's an O here. So protease is a class of enzymes specific to digest proteins. Okay. So here in tube A we have coagulated egg white or coagulated protein, distilled water, and 37 degrees Celsius. So here I have no juice, it's uncontrolled tube. In B I have saliva, in C I have gastric juice, and in D I have pancreatic juice. So here you can see the juices used in this experiment: saliva, gastric juice, and pancreatic juice. And here I have no juices, just coagulated proteins with distilled water and temperature suitable 37 degrees Celsius. After 1 hour, the coagulated protein, you have to put coagulate, مش مشكلة. The coagulated protein disappeared only in tube C and D. So here I have digestion and here I have digestion these two, with these two juices, but here in tube B I have no digestion. خليني أعمل correction لهيدي coagulated proteins. Let's continue. Now now the most important part, which is the interpretation of this experiment. This interpretation in this interpretation, you have to start by the common conditions. What are the common conditions? As you can see here, the coagulated egg white, distilled water, and 37 degrees Celsius. So after 1 hour, after 2 hours, the coagulated protein stays the same in tube A with distilled water and in tube B with saliva. So under the same conditions, coagulated proteins, distilled water 37 degrees Celsius. After 2 hours, the coagulated protein stay the same. عنا mistakes كتير. هيدا بس أعمل باوربوينت، ما بعرف أوقات كنا عم بكتب كتير اشياء على الباوربوينت بصير يعلق، مش بخليني اشوف شو عم بكتب، بصير يتأخر ليبينه وبعدني فايق كمان. يلا مش مشكلة. So after 2 hours, the coagulated proteins stay the same in tube A with distilled water and in tube B with saliva. So focus on the variable factor. Don't forget to write the variable factor with each tube. So هون عندي the coagulated protein stay the same in tube A with distilled water and in tube B with saliva, while the coagulated proteins disappeared in tube C with gastric juice and in tube B with pancreatic juice. So always we have to put with each tube its variable factor. With each tube its variable factor. So is it clear the variable factor here? Focus on the variable factor. Thus, digestion of proteins takes place with gastric juice and pancreatic juice. So, digestion of proteins takes place uh, with gastric juice and with pancreatic juice. فإذا عم بيصير بالgastric juice والpancreatic juice يعني تيوبس شو نعمل؟ خليني أصلحها. Under the same conditions calculated egg white. Okay, after 2 hours. شفتوا قديش بطيء. بعد هلا ما طلعت التو. stay the same. هون بدنا نحط هون saliva. إن شاء الله اليوم. فإذا وأخيرا let me resolve this exercise under the same conditions. So what are the common conditions? The coagulated egg white, distilled water, and the temperature, which is at 37 degrees Celsius. After 2 hours, the coagulated proteins stay the same in tube A with distilled water. This is the variable factor. And in tube B with saliva, while it disappeared in tube C with gastric juice and pancreatic juice tube D. Oh, sorry, no, pancreatic juice in tube D. Thus, digestion of proteins takes place with gastric and pancreatic juice, tube C and D, and doesn't take place in tube اللي هن tubes A and B. Tubes A and B اللي هن عندهم distilled water and saliva. Okay, so here don't forget to write a significance concerning the digestion of proteins and the juices. وهون ما تنسوا variable factor common conditions. هلا الكونكلوجن إذا أنتم ما عرفتوا شو بدكم تكتبوا لأنه ما في concerning what, you have to go to أو you have to use the problem in order to determine the digestive juice containing protease. فإذا the digestive juice containing protease هو gastric juice and pancreatic juice. Hence, gastric and pancreatic juices contain protease. Okay, now we have another question. Here we have a table showing the results of pirate test after 2 hours. Tube A أعطينا violet, tube B violet, C violet and D blue. أكيد هذا after 2 hours. Okay, focus on the time. pirate eye يوم. يلا مش مشكلة. In tube A بدي أعمل explanation, so you have to use your acquired knowledge. ليش صار هيك؟ Before starting, let me make a small revision about pirate test. Pirate test is a test to check the presence of proteins or peptide. So if I have protein or if I have peptide, I'm gonna obtain a violet color. But in case I have amino acid, I'm gonna obtain a blue color. Okay, so blue color with amino acids, proteins and peptides will give violet color. Explain. Why do we obtain these colors? In tube A, the water cannot digest the protein, so violet test will give a violet color because the protein stay protein. No digestion here, فبروتين بيبقى protein فحيعطينا which will give a violet color with tube A, samples taken from tube A. B, I have a saliva, and saliva cannot digest proteins because it doesn't contain any protease. ما عندها protease, ما عندها enzyme specific to digest protein. عندها only amylase. Amylase is not specific to digest proteins. فإذا protein حيبقى protein and violet test will give violet color. فإذا no digestion here حيبقى يعطيني violet color لأنه I have protein. In tube C I have gastric juice. Gastric juice contains an enzyme called pepsin. صح؟ Pepsin digests proteins into peptide. فإذا هون اختفت coagulated protein، اختفت لأنها it's digested into peptide. بس بقي عندي هون شو؟ peptide. و peptide which colors give with violet test؟ violet. فإذا حأرجع عيد in tube C. The gastric juice contains pepsin. That is a protease. That is a protease for the digestion of proteins into peptides. فإذا عندي peptides and peptides give شو؟ violet color with violet test. Finally, in tube D I have pancreatic juice which contains trypsin. حفظوا منيح pepsin و trypsin here. Trypsin هيعمل digestion of protein into amino acids. So here I have no proteins after 2 hours. I have amino acids. So in this case violet test will give a blue color. فإذا بدي أحفظ الانزيمز in each البروتيازز موجودين. بالسلايفا I have no protease. In gastric juice I have pepsin, and in pancreatic juice I have trypsin. And what can each protease digest? So pepsin بيقدر يعمل digestion of protein into peptide. trypsin بيقدر يعمل digestion of protein into amino acid. فعشان هيك هون حيعطيني violet، هون حيعطيني blue.